Welcome to Networks Professionals.
So, if you've ever been on the receiving end of a barrage of alerts, staring at red blinking dashboards with users practically panicking in the background, well, you already know network outages are incredibly high pressure. You really don't have the time to just start unplugging cables and crossing your fingers. What you actually need is a rock-solid, industry-standard playbook. Look, there is a night and day difference between chaotic guesswork and using a streamlined methodology. Relying on random guesses and just trying out arbitrary fixes, that inevitably leads to extended downtime, massive frustration, and honestly, sometimes it even makes the original problem a whole lot worse. But leaning on a proven methodology restores networks efficiently. It keeps you calm, collected, and totally intentional. Every single action you take serves a very clear purpose.
Your operational compass for restoring network peace really boils down to 4 simple but super powerful steps. Identify, analyze, fix, and verify. No matter how deep into the routing tables or the firewall rules you find yourself, these 4 steps are what will guide you right back to stability.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer today. We'll kick things off with the end of guesswork, and then march sequentially through Phase 1, Identify, Phase 2, Analyze, Phase 3, Fix, and wrap up with Phase 4, Verify.
All right, let's jump straight into Part 1, the end of guesswork. This is all about building our foundation.
The entire goal here is to completely prevent guesswork and ensure issues are resolved efficiently with the absolute bare minimum of downtime. And this isn't just, a good idea. It's the proven, streamlined approach that top-tier engineers all over the world rely on. When the clock is ticking and the business is actively losing money, you don't guess, you execute the methodology.
Moving right along to Phase 1, Identify. This is where the initial detective work happens.
First things first, you've got to define the exact problem symptoms, like get those specific error codes. Next up, figure out the scope of the issue because that entirely dictates your response level. Are we talking about an isolated port issue for one user or a total infrastructure failure across the whole department? Finally, compare the current state to your baseline. This instantly highlights the anomaly for you. Because simply put, you have to know exactly what normal looks like before you can understand what's broken.
Okay, Phase 2, Analyze. Let's turn that raw data into action.
This is where you brainstorm causes based on those symptoms you just found. And hey, let's be honest with each other, we all know it's probably DNS, right? But jokes aside, you still have to gather the hard data from your logs and monitoring tools to isolate the true root cause. You're trying to prove or disprove your theories one by one here. Just systematically narrow down those variables until literally only the true point of failure remains.
And that brings us to a classic troubleshooting fork in the road. Are we dealing with the physical layer or the application layer? Basically, did a backhoe just physically sever an underground fiber line? Or are you just looking at an expired SSL certificate? Dividing the problem up this way saves a massive amount of time. I mean, you really don't want to be debugging code when your core router literally has no power.
Next up is Phase 3, Fix. Time for direct execution.
Now, before you type a single command, it is absolutely crucial to plan the fix and document the exact steps. Once you have that plan, then you implement the solution. And a quick note on this. Doing this during a maintenance window is highly preferred to avoid secondary disruptions. Because sometimes rolling out a fix at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday can actually be worse than the initial outage itself. Finally, know your limits. Escalate to Tier 2 or Tier 3 engineers if the fix needs vendor support or advanced permissions. There is absolutely no shame in escalating, it's just a smart, strategic part of the process.
And finally, Phase 4, Verify. This is how we guarantee success.
Please, whatever you do, never assume a fix worked just because you hit enter. You have to test it to confirm the network is fully operational and, more importantly, that those original symptoms from Phase 1 are 100% gone. Then you monitor. Keep a really close eye on the affected systems for a bit to make sure the fix is actually stable and didn't accidentally trigger some new secondary issue. Lastly, document the whole shebang. Log the root cause and the exact resolution you applied. This becomes institutional knowledge, and I promise you it will save you or your team hours of headache the next time a similar issue strikes. Here's a really important takeaway. An initial failure, it's not a defeat. Actually, it's just fresh data. If your fix fails, you simply feed that new information right back into the analyze phase, formulate a new hypothesis, and refine the cycle. It is just a continuous loop of refinement and discovery until you nail it. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time the network goes dark, will you resort to chaos and guesswork, or calmly rely on this proven methodology to lead you back into the light? The choice is entirely yours. Keep those networks running smoothly, and thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.
Thanks for watching.